I know that some people know that I teach row first Sunday of each month at 10:30, but not everyone. I try to get notices out, but hopefully everyone got it. Everyone has it. Okay, so today I want to talk about the morals and ethics of Dark Elves. So let me start with, although many of you, maybe, but not all know, that Dark Elves have the inherent uh, curse, for lack of a better word, that they are sadomasochistic and must kill. They have an inherent bloodlust. The queen of the Dark Elves, many, many moons ago, before she was a Dark Elf, there was a queen. There was an elven queen who fell in love with an elven lord, an elven king, but he was in love with someone else. Now she had snow white skin and coal black hair and bright blue eyes. She made a deal with a chthonic being, an Obrinth, to give her more power so that she could perhaps win the hand of the man she would like to have. Now, that magic had a cost. That cost was to make her and her entire clan reversed. So her snow white skin became pitch black, became coal black. Her coal black hair became snow white, and her bright blue eyes became red. And in addition to that, now her and all of her people had the inherent physical need to kill and cause pain, physical pain. Okay? Subsequently, she did not win this individual, and that queen was Loth. The lord, the king, was Corellin Larathian. And after that, all of her people, all the people in her kingdom at that time, all reversed in color and were all cursed. And every child born since then was born with that curse. So if you have a race that must kill, must cause pain, it's going to collapse in on itself, isn't it? Because everyone is going to be killing each other every chance they get because they have to. They have the need, the physical need. It's not like it's as deep as hunger. Thirst is an absolute necessity that has to happen. So if you have an entire section of a race, which became its own sub-race at that point, if you have an entire sub-race that must kill, the race isn't going to last very long, is it? Because everyone's just going to kill each other. So, in order to survive, the race crafted social norms ethics and morals so that it would not destroy itself. Number one, of course, is the penchant for war, combat, battle, was escalated exponentially. Every opportunity to engage in warfare was now at the forefront. So, a vast array. A lot of them became mercenaries, and that their troops, for lack of a better word, became quite prolific. Every war that any kingdom was going to engage in would always have Dark Elves at the forefront, just so that they can cure their own physical need. Now, this, of course, created a lot of conflict with their non-cursed elven brothers. And so they retreated into the earth, which, Shadow was their penchant anyway. So it was not that difficult of a transition. And life being hard under the earth was an advantage to them, because it made it so that any pain that they had to go through in order to carve out a kingdom was beneficial. And subsequently, that is exactly what happened. They crafted a massive kingdom under the earth, eliminating virtually all of the opponents that they come across. But they're also extremely intelligent. Not only do they possess this innate sadomasochism and this innate need to kill, they're also incredibly intelligent. So they know that if you kill everyone, then there's not going to be anybody left to kill. And you are going to be right back where you started. Because this is a race that also lives 1,000, 2,000 years. So if you kill each other or kill everyone else around you, then in a decade or two, there's no one left. And if your race is to survive, you need to put rules in place. So they did. It became necessary. So they instilled upon themselves self-control. They learned and taught and exemplified the ultimate in self-control, so that their need did not overpower their ability to survive. So instead of just going out and killing everything that they saw, they pick and choose what they needed that meant that they might have to go a few days without killing someone. Oh, then that's what happened. Self-control. Eventually, you'll get the chance. It also led to a great deal of experimentation, summoning, and necromancy, so that you could go into other planes of existence and kill there, or draw beings from other planes so that you can kill. Then that fixed some of the problem, and being able to raise things back from the dead, and then kill them again, and then that also helped because it alleviated it. You could, what's the best way to put it? It's a self-sustaining system if you can kill something, bring it back from the dead, and kill it again, and bring it back from the dead and kill it again, and bring it back from the dead and kill it again. And that made it, that alleviated that hunger, that need. So necromancy became a very popular fallback for the Dark Elfin race. But the key element to all of it is a vast supply of self-control that you learn and teach, and always keep yourself under control. It became a racial norm. Yes, of course. You still thirst, you still have hunger. It's still there. And you satiate your desires as you are able. But you have to be able to have the self-control to not just lose it every time it happens. Example. Let's talk about thirst for a second, because this is a good this helps. You're in the desert, okay? You're out of water. All you have is a single canteen of water, and you have to cross the desert. Desert's going to take you a week to get across. Very hot, and so you know that you're going to have to travel at night, and you have no idea if there's going to be any water out there at all. It's highly unlikely, but possible. So you have to ration that water. It doesn't stop you from being thirsty. You are going to thirst. But in order to cross that desert successfully, then you need to take small sips, and you need to travel at night so that your body is not fully exerted all the time. And that is the exact same way it is with the Dark Elven need to kill. You may have to go a whole week without satiating that desire, that need. But you have to ration that. Keep in mind that anyone you kill, yes, that's right. You have to keep in mind that everyone you kill is one less person that you can kill later, unless you're a necromancer. And that is exactly why Dark Elves make good assassins. That is why Dark Elves hire themselves out as assassins very often. Okay? Because that allows them the ability to kill. Okay, and thank you. That's very, very good. It is their nature, and why is it seen as evil? Well, it from someone else's perspective, from the human perspective, someone who loves to kill and enjoys the pain and enjoys the sound of that an individual makes when they die. That is, from someone else's point of view, that is not good. That is an evil thing. Now, Dark Elves don't see it as evil because they know that is what they don't have a choice. It is what it is. But for someone else to look at Dark Elves, they're going to be seen as extremely evil. They enjoy hurting. They enjoy killing. The sound of someone dying is pleasure to their ears. They have to do it. And so to someone else, that's really, really evil. You know, they ignore the fact that Dark Elves have to maintain self-control. As far as they're concerned, it's like, well, you can all die. But Dark Elves don't see it that way. It's like, no, we can't all die, right? We will not die. Do not go gently into the dark night. Rage, rage, rage against the dying of the light. And that is how Dark Elves are with it. And so, if you want an assassin that will fulfill their goal, hire a Dark Elf, because they are going to kill someone. Okay? Now, like I said, they do possess morals and ethics, social mores, because they know that if you kill everyone, then there's not going to be anybody left to kill. Uh, Fascism, good example. Okay. Now, this is actually a really good example. You talked about the Light Forged Drenai there. I will hit that in just a moment, but you hit a good point. That is why also that Dark Elves always look for an enemy. Okay, they always need to find an enemy. Okay, because someone has to be the target. There has to be someone that they can go after, and that is unfortunate for the Illithid, but fortunate for Dark Elves, because many, many moons ago, the Illithid had the unfortunate decision to try to take over the empire that the Dark Elves forged. Now, admittedly, they were very, very successful. They wiped out 90% of the race. 90% of the race. Okay? But what they did was that made it so that all Dark Elves have a target. So anytime an Illithid is near, it's dead, because Dark Elves, that gives them someone to go after. Fascism. Fascism is the thought that one single race, subset, whatever you want to call it, has the right to subjugate every other race. Now, whether they're good, like supposedly the Lightforged Draenei, or evil, like the Illithid, doesn't matter because the end result is the same. You're subjugating everybody else to your will. So you will always see Dark Elves opposing that force, whether it's a good force or an evil force. Okay, and herein lies the catch. In the case, if it is a good guys that are opposing their will in a military fashion upon the world, quote unquote. Well, some of us don't think that's good, but those people don't think agree with us. Well, that force is going to meet Dark Elves because they are going to, little by little, assassinate everyone they can. That gives them a target. And let's take that a step up another notch. Anytime a force of whatever type it is makes itself a target, then it will be a target. Now, like I told you, Dark Elves have rules and ethics because they believe that if life does not continue, in a positive fashion, there can be no Dark Elves. There can be no life. So they're the first people to be passing out food to the hungry. They're the first people to. You're gonna hear static also. Everyone else. Sheesh. I just bought this headset. What's that? Is that better? Okay. Yeah, it's not my mic itself. It's the plug that goes to the computer. So I'm trying to play with that. How's that? Is that better? Okay. Okay, good. Okay, now, so because quality of life is important for life to continue, Dark Elves are always going to be the first ones there to make sure that people have housing, people have food, people have water, that people are taken care of. Because if there are no people, there's nobody to kill. Okay? And even if that village that they're taking care of, even if they don't plan on killing anybody in that village, then that expands. Okay? Because if that village is taken care of, then that means that that they have somebody to protect. So if some brigands attack that village, guess who's going to be with pleasure going and defending that village? The Dark Elves, because that gives them a target, gives them somebody to kill. Okay. Oh yes, they'll take care of. They'll adopt any race. Give them food, give them hunger, stop the hunger, give them water to stop the thirst, give them blankets to keep them warm. They are going to take care of people because they need to be able to kill someone. And they have developed themselves. Well, no, not as cattle, because they're not going to kill the people in that village. They're going to kill the people coming after that village. Okay? They control themselves. They do, after a fashion, that village is cattle, but not cattle to be killed, not cattle to be culled. That is what's the, we're using some weird terms, but I'm going to use it. And bait is, one way to put it too. You could say it. It's more like a farm. Okay? It's more like a farm. You go out and when you own a farm, you go out and you take care of your goats and your cows and your pigs. All right? And your chickens and stuff. And you plow your field and you plant your corn and all that jazz because you're taking care of it. And then if someone comes and attacks that farm, which in really dark times happens often, then that gave you someone to go and kill. It is sort of like bait. Okay? It is sort of like bait. Okay? And also, just as you mentioned, if people in that town tend to not follow the rules, we're not talking just the basic rules, but let's say someone in the town decides to kill someone else in the town. Well, guess what? That person has now made themselves dead. Okay. Yes, a target. And so it may be a subtle way of policing because it's not upfront. Okay? But it is the case. Okay? Suddenly that person disappears and no one knows where they went. Well, Dark Elves came and got them and they killed them. And it was a very long and painful death, depending on how many Dark Elves there were. Everybody needed to get a piece of it. And it could be quite brutal. Okay? If it's only one, hey, you know what? And also on that same target, Dark Elves don't keep prisoners. Okay? They don't keep prisons. They don't have jails. Because if you commit a crime, there are only two prices for committing a crime. Indentured servitude, which is almost exclusively elves, almost exclusively, not exactly, Fae usually can fall in that, elementals can fall in that. And then death. There's only two prices for committing a crime under a Dark Elf's nose. Indentured servitude, which is only given to those who have an incredibly long life, and it is a crime to kill them. Okay? And then the second one is death. on that same note, Dark Elves have developed like I said, ethics and morals. One of the things that Dark Elves do not do, they do not kill other elves. Okay, because elves have such a long lifespan, it is considered a crime to kill another elf. Okay, now can it happen? Yes, of course, but it is frowned upon. It is a social error, and it is not a thing that they would engage in on purpose. Okay, unless of course they have the ability to bring them back to life, and then it's okay. Yes, exactly. So they do not kill each other, and that's exactly correct. That's a part of ensuring survival of the race. There are so few elves and even fewer dark elves that they don't kill each other, and that is the only reason the race has survived for as long as it has. Because when it when the race was first cursed, the very first thing that happened before they started making rules was they turned on each other and started killing each other because and then they were stopped. Say, hey, listen, if we do this, there's not going to be any more of us. We're all going to die. Is that what you want? Okay, for a moment's pleasure, for a single moment's pleasure. No. I'll talk to you about driders in just a second. No, they don't kill driders. Driders are the guardians of dark elves. And yes, Loth has cursed some dark elves to become driders, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so they don't kill each other. That is why the indentured servitude rule came into play. If you commit a crime against if a dark elf commits a crime against another dark elf, then they have submitted to becoming the indentured servant of the family, of the house of the other. All right, hold on one moment. My son's going to work. My apologies. Okay. Yeah, there are no. An indentured servant is not a slave. Okay? They are not a slave because an indentured servant can pay off their debt. That is exactly why they are indentured servants. As soon as they pay that debt off, then they go about their business, back to doing whatever it was that they did before. Okay? There's a huge difference between slavery and being Beldas, Jalil McTavish. I know that you're not feeling well. Go take a nap. Okay. There's a huge difference between indentured servitude and slavery. Slavery is when someone works for you for nothing forever. Okay? An indentured servant, they work for you until they pay off their debt. Everything they do for you is paying off the debt. Okay? And as far as how many things it is, it depends upon what what occurred, what offense was made. Okay? It might simply be a quest. Okay? And then your debt is paid. You go on this quest for me, your debt is paid. Okay? Um, something, it just depends upon what happened, what the offense was. Okay? But it is not slavery. Okay? No. It's not effectively the same at all. Just because you have to do for something for someone does not make you their slave. That means you owe them and you have to pay off your debt. Okay? That's not at all the same. Just like, okay, in real life, let's say that everybody works, right? Okay. Now, because you work, you get paid. That's right. It's like a credit card. It's like, it's if you do something wrong, you have to pay for it. Okay? And for Dark Elves, the there's like I said, there's only two things that can happen. You pay with your life, or you perform a series of quests, whatever is necessary. You cannot. There are no jails. There are no prisons. There are no workhouses. You have two choices. You are indentured to that family for what depending on what you did wrong, or you die. That's it. That's true. There's no if a lot of times indentured servitude can simply be a quest, or if in some cases maybe they are made into it's like, all right, now you're the guard, now you're the head of my guard because you did this thing. You have to guard my door. Okay. And because also Dark Elves have a sense of honor, which is most people don't understand that. Dark Elves have a sense of honor because they have so much self-control that has crafted a personality type. For those of you that are familiar with Star Trek, think of it like Vulcans and Romulans. Okay, it's all the same family, right? Okay, and but hidden underneath, they have this. There's more to it than what you see on the surface, and they have developed all of these rituals and self-control and ways to stay cool, ways to stay calm. Okay, and sorry, what all boils down to it is that you know oftentimes indentured servitude is a quest, but it does depend upon what you've done. All right. Um, you, if you offend that individual or their family, then you may be having to run a quest for them. Okay. All right. Go back to the honor thing here. With dark elves, there is an inherent honor. One of the reasons is because all dark elves have the ability to detect a lie. Okay? So they are always going to know if you're lying. Always. You go into a courtroom, let's say in a human courtroom, they say, they put your hand on the Bible and say, all right, da 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 da. You know, I whole tell the whole truth or nothing but the truth. Well, dark elves are always going to tell the truth. Okay, because they can detect lie, so they know when somebody's lying. Okay, you can't lie to a dark elf. All right, it's not possible. So they have developed a sense of honor around that. It's like if a person can't lie, all right, then they develop a personal shield. Well, yeah, they can lie to other people, but you can't. But they can detect lie. So since most of the time they're dealing with each other, they when they grow up and stuff, when they're formulating their childhood and etc., they learn that you can't lie because everybody's going to know you're telling the truth. I mean, that you're not telling the truth. So that becomes part of their personality. It's not that they cannot lie because they can, okay? But it's not inherent because they grow up around people that everyone can detect lie. And it's like, you know, little girl breaks a vase, okay? Dad runs into the room and says, I didn't do it, she did. Well, dad already knows. No, yeah, you did it. you know, as soon as she opened her mouth and said, I didn't do it, dad knew that she did it. Okay? So they learn, you know, children learn. It's a racial ability. Okay? Now, the cultural aspect of it, the cultural aspect of it is that is what is the honor that's developed, okay? Because they learn that you can't lie and get away with it, okay? That's the cultural aspect of it. But the talent itself to detect lie is racial. That's part of the curse, okay? The like I told you that the queen that caused the curse, she got some power, and the cost was significant. All right, but one of the powers that she got was the innate ability to detect lie, and that went throughout her kingdom, which ultimately became her race, and ultimately became all the way down here. Every dark elf can detect lie. Okay? But If they do not grow up among other dark elves, then they may not learn the lesson that if you lie, everybody knows. It's distinctly possible. Any half breed has a 50% chance of having the ability of of the parent type. So it is possible. It's not a guarantee, but it is possible. Well, it's going to have a lot to do with the role. The role plays is absolutely necessary. When you craft the character, then it's if you want to have some of the abilities from your parental type, then then get with any judge, any dungeon master, or me, the game master, or any member of the conclave, and they can say, "Oh, you want you're half dark elven, so you have a 50% chance of having detect lie. Let's dice roll that." You know? It is a it can be a very very defining factor. Okay, you know, but yes, that's a die roll thing. You know? When you're that's in character creation. All right. Later on, let's say that you've been running your character for a long time and you never thought about it before. Say, hey, I'm half dark elven. I didn't realize that I could possibly detect lie. Well, get with a conclave member or a judge. Say, hey, let's see if I can't fit this in my character. If let's check. 50% is pretty high. Okay, that's base chance for a lot of things. I usually give 50 as a base things because I want you to have a healthy chance of doing it and a healthy chance of not. But it is an excellent role play ability. That's right. You can't have everything because yeah, yes, that's the same way with all half breeds, not just dark elves. Every half breed there's a 50% chance of having a parental skill. Okay, so since we're talking about dark elven skills that they also that they acquired from the curse. Now the price of the curse we already know. That means that they have to kill. Okay? And they're sadomasochistic. Okay? So what did they get from that? That's a pretty high price, right? Okay? Well, one of the things they got obviously is detect lie. Another thing that they got is ultravision. Okay? That was funny, mermaid joke. Um, Especially since I'm about to say ultravision. Ultravision is something that mermaids have. Okay, it's the ability to see in absolute dark, where you can see the ultraviolet spectrum of light. Now, if any of you are familiar with the fact that butterflies can see an ultraviolet spectrum of light, the vast array of creatures that live at the bottom of the ocean see can see in the ultraviolet spectrum of light, and that's the of course in the case of those, that's the only spectrum of light they can see in. Okay, and that means that dark elves can see in pitch black. They can see in another spectrum of light, one that is often emitted by mushrooms Many mushrooms and plants emit ultraviolet light. Okay? Not all of them, and obviously the sun emits a massive amount of it. That's why sometimes the sun can be absolutely blinding to dark elves because they can see an ultraviolet spectrum. That is one of the things that they got, that they paid such a high price for. And something that is possible a half breed could get as ultravision. There's also dark vision, which means that they again we're looking at the pitch black. Well, in the case of dark vision, you don't need any light whatsoever, not ultraviolet, not infrared, nothing. But when they use dark vision, everything is in black and white. There are no colors when you're using dark vision. Okay? Yes. It's like painted black. I see a red door and I want you painted black. No colors anymore. I want them to turn black. Yes, it's like a black and white movie. That's exactly correct. When at Dark Elves use dark vision, it's like everything becomes a black and white movie. There are no colors. Perfect good grayscale. Okay? Yes, that's right. Yep. So they have the ability to see in the ultraviolet spectrum, and the ability to see in the infrared spectrum, and the abilities and dark vision. Okay? Infrared spectrum makes it so that you can see heat and cold. Okay? So that is one of the advantages that they got from paying such a high price. Okay? That's good. Anyone seen the Aquaman movie? If anyone has seen the Aquaman movie, Aquaman has ultravision. Okay? When he swims down to the bottom of the ocean where Atlantis is and all that jazz, it's one of the best. I don't know. Yep. Wonder Woman and Aquaman are two of the best DC movies out. I would not say that they are the only good ones because I like Batman, but they are two of the very, very best. Yes, agreed. Of the newest of all the new movies, they are the top notch. Um, but there's about to be a new Justice League movie coming out. I think it's going to be a mini series. They have turned the 2 hour movie into an 8 hour movie. Absolutely, 1989. Shoot, 89 Batman is my favorite movie of all time. Okay, um, absolutely, 100% true. Okay, so those are so their eyes. Their eyes were no longer blue. Everybody has red eyes, and they have the ability to see three different spectrums of light. They have dark vision, infravision, and ultravision. All of those. Okay? Which also brings up another point. A lot of times, if you find a dark elven city, yes, they have all of those. Okay? They do. They have all of a lot of times in a dark elven city, you will see an artificial sun. Okay, because since dark elves do still have uh, plants and animals and a life in, and they can still see in different spectrums of light that humans cannot. They oftentimes have a magical sun that starts on one end of the cavern, goes up to the top, and goes down to the other side. An artificial sun. And every single Dark Elven city will have one. And that's an artificial night and day. And it crafts artificial everythings. Okay. It allows for plants, all kinds of plants to grow that people don't think could grow underground. Well, if you have an artificial sun that human eyes can't really see because it's ultraviolet, and so they walk into the room, they don't know that there's what's going on. But anyone who can see in the ultraviolet spectrum can see it. Vendu Volsharis Quixote, and welcome. Okay. So there's also that. And so you're saying, oh, so you're asking, all right, so the price, the price is that dark elves must kill, like hunger and thirst. They must do that. They have self-control, so they have learned self-control, so they can last a week or whatever, a long time, depending on how strong your willpower is. Willpower is everything to a dark elf. Okay. And also, they are sadomasochistic. They like to hurt. They have, it's part of the curse. And this is a physical pain. They, mental, emotional, none of those things actually help at all. They do not. They do not fulfill the need that the curse has caused. Okay, the curse is a physical curse, so it needs physical outlets. All right. So, being an asshat and hurting somebody's feelings does not make a dark elf feel any better. It does not cure any of the curse. It doesn't make them feel better. They need to physically hurt someone. Now, you punch somebody in the head, all right, that worked, all right. But yelling at somebody, hurting somebody's feelings, or just generally being an asshole, that doesn't help. That's not going to help them at all. That does not feed the hunger. They need to do more. It has to be a physical issue. Okay? All right? And as far as receiving pain goes, it's the same way. Okay? It doesn't help that hunger by having your feelings hurt. Okay? Emotional or mental or any of those kinds of pains. That doesn't help at all. It has to be physical. So they get into as many fights as they can, okay, so that they can get that taken care of. And this is not a sexual thing, okay? Sex will not help either of those things either, Okay, that is why, uh, you know, that's why they make such good assassins, and is also why arena matches do exist in Dark Elven society, and why general people will get into them, and why they're not to the death; they are to the pain. Using that uh, Princess Bride uh, quote, to the pain. They get into those so that they can hurt people and not get hurt. I mean, and get hurt back, but not die. Okay? Because, again, it's one of the only things that's illegal in Dark Elven society is to kill another Dark Elf. All right? It is extremely, you know, there's as great a punishment for killing any elf as there is for killing a dark elf, but it's actually illegal to kill a dark elf. You know, you will, the price of that will be your life. Okay? There is no indentured servitude if you kill a dark elf. You are dead. Okay? And since everybody, all dark elves can detect lie, you can't say, I didn't do it. We already know you did. You know, that's why there are no juries. If you have a dark elf court, there's going to be three people sitting up there. You're going to tell what you did, and you know they can detect lies, so you can't lie to them. And then they will decide whether or not you die or not. 99.999% chance you are going to die. Yes, the punishment for an elf that kills an elf is still death, because you have forfeited your life by killing another elf. Okay? Now, it is possible, that's the reason that there are three of them up there. It is possible that the family of this, if another race kills one, yeah, they're dead. Now, if the family of the person who was killed set, you know, says, "Hey, you know, I have a quest that I need done," and they're perfect for it. That's the only time that you will get out of being killed, is if the family of the murdered elf has a quest for you that they think that you are the only one that can do. Then you'll get out of being killed. But that's the only way. Okay. Remember what I talked about indentured servitude is performing quests for the family. Here it is again. Comes right back to it. The only way you're going to get out of being killed from for killing an elf is if the family of that elf has a quest for you. All right? Because there are no prisons, there are no jails, there's nowhere to hold you. There's no, that doesn't exist in elven society. They don't believe in taking prisoners. You know, you got two choices. And like Sage just asked, if another race kills an elf, it's just they're dead. You know, simple. You know. Now, if let's say, for the sake of argument, that other race person from another race able to go to court, and then the family of the dead elf has a quest for them, then they will be given that possibility. But most likely they will never get that far. Okay? Because generally speaking, Dark Elven Court is only for elves. Now, that includes all types of elves. There's not Dark Elven only, because all elves fall into the same rules when it comes to that law. And it is the only real law. Okay? Everything else is mores and norms. And if mores and norms are broken, then they can be repaired by questing. They can be repaired by indentured servitude. You must do this thing for the family. Okay? They can be repaired by that. But the only real law is killing an elf. And then you're dead. Okay? Most likely. Now, like I said, necromancy is heavy in Dark Elven society. So it could be that you are killed and brought back to life, because that happens too. Okay? But if you're brought back to life by a necromancer, you're not alive anymore, are you? No. Now you're undead. And sometimes indentured servitude is the result of that. All right, you are killed because you did this thing, and you were brought back to life as a necromancer by a necromancer, and now you are the guardian of the family's estate because you killed Prince Hubbalubbalub, and his family said, "Yeah, kill him and bring him back to life. Now he's going to be the guard." That's the worst case scenario, but it could happen. All right, let's see here. I know I missed lots and lots and lots. Yeah. If you are going, here's a good example. If you're going to kill a dark elf, bring a priest so that they bring him back to life. So you never get caught. Because you can't, because if you get caught, you can't lie to them. Every dark elf knows if you're telling the truth. There is no you can't lie. You can lie. I'm sorry. You can lie all you want, but they're not going to believe you. Hey, you do whatever you need to do. All right. But but that's how Dark Elf society works. Well, if you hire someone else to do the killing, you're not the one who did the killing, are you? That happens. Because then that's not you who did the killing. But if that person who did the killing is caught by Dark Elves and they don't have a choice, they're going to tell them who did it, and then you can be brought in. Okay. That's right. Not dead is almost alive. That is correct. So, did that answer your questions, a little Goslet, Moonsnow? Okay, cool. All right. Uh, I know that I've skipped a lot. I know that I've missed a lot because because I rely heavily on questions. That is correct. That is still the truth. There is a rule in the GA that does not allow permanent death without the consent of the player. That is absolutely true. Okay. Everyone's effectually, at least virtually, because we live in a virtual world, you are virtually immortal. That is correct. It's not like D&D or where you can, when you're killed, which in all the newer generations, that's why that is warped, that is changed. You know, that's why that's in the beginning when we first did it in '77. That's why people had so many different characters. When I would have a player roll up a character, I would have them make two or three because your character is going to die. Okay, and so you have a second one just in case because rolling up a character is a pita. In the modern version, I don't know if it's point 0.6 or whatever, V6 I think. They plan on you never dying. Okay? So when you create a character, that character may actually get to level 20. But back in the day that almost never happened. It's extremely difficult to get your character up to level 20. But the modern version is more like video games, where if you die, somebody brings you back to life, and you keep rolling forward. And that's kind of where we are, because you know, yeah, I know, he died again. Um, Nip keeps forgetting to take off his meter. I don't know, is he starving or something? I don't know what's killing him. Oh, his stamina. Okay. Um, is letting an elf die the same as killing them? For a dark elf, it's against their moral code. Okay, to let an elf die because the life of an elf is precious, and um, there are so few elves in the universe that it's against their code of honor to allow an elf to die if they have any power to change it. Is it an offense? Will they be, if they're busted, can they be tried? No. That is not the same. They may be held accountable by the family for a quest, but they're not going to be killed. Does that help? All right, excellent. Okay. Yes, Jill Thorne. Question. Go ahead. I'm not sure because I wasn't over there, and Echo has crashed, so I'm not sure how the syndicate works exactly, but and any dark elves are still gonna That's still how it's going to roll with Dark Elves, you know. And I don't know the rest. I don't know how what their all their individual rules are going to be, and that's cool. You know, you know, but that's their society, okay. But Dark Elves as a race, it's still going to be what it is. Oh, I know that the Lothians have been removed. If, yes, I know. I'm quite aware. I mean, Loth or Loth, depending on how you want to pronounce it, is the mother of the magician. Okay, and all Lothians uh, worship his sister because Loth has actually been consumed. Not all magicians, of the magician. Loth is the mother of the magician. Yes, that is correct. But she was consumed, and so his sister became the new Loth. Okay, and that's an entirely different story. But you are welcome to ask questions about it if you wish. But as far as ousting the Lothians from Rue, yes, they were ousted. Does that mean that everybody was killed? No, it doesn't not necessarily mean that. The magician is also the god of death, right? Yes, he is. So, if he chooses to uh, eliminate all of those individuals, then that's his choice, right? And yes, the magician is a dark elf. I am a dark elf, but I am also the son of Loth and the god of death. So those are also all parts of it. And since someone didn't know that the magician's mother is Loth, then that means he also does not know that magician's father is grandfather Wolf. I am I'm not sure. I know that the Lothian Drow are not in power on Rue. I don't think that it means they're not allowed. Okay? It just means that they're not in power. That's all. It doesn't have anything to do with that they can't exist. It just means that they are not in power. Does that make sense? It's just that some people can take Salvatorian the Salvatorian mindset a little far. That's all. And so they have made that um, turn. It's just some people can, yeah, like he just said the same thing as me. Some people just take it a little bit too far. You know, remember many, I don't know how, some of you are old enough, many years ago, many moons ago, we had a whole bunch of angels, okay, in the GA, and they were all the time causing massive havoc because they had too much power, and they were killing everything all the time, okay, and they were very uh, what's the best way to put it? Denominational. There we go. All right. Well, I what's the best way to put it? I made a command decision, and I pulled all their feathers out, in some cases one by one, painfully, and then I stopped allowing angels. Now we have celestials, and they're limited. Okay. Now, yes, celestials are angels, but by a completely different nomenclature that fits them into into our world and our world picture. Okay. That way we can have Valkyries, and you know we can, and Diva. We it's fits in our world picture much better. Okay. And we can do that, and I have the control over how many there can be, how much power they can have, and what natural abilities they do have or do not. Someone can't just come in and say, "Hey, I'm this dude, and I think I'm this and I am that." And it's like, no, you are not. Smackdown. Sorry, but sometimes you got to do that, and whether it be angels or whether it be drow, you know, and just got things have to fit into the world. Okay, when you go too far with a thing, you've gone too far with that thing. So Rue has decided to take the same corporate decision and do the same thing. It's not that, it's not that Dark Elves are not allowed there, because they are. It's not that Drow are not allowed there, because they are. It's just that when sometimes people can just go too far with what they think a thing is supposed to be. Okay? And so now that's been corrected. That's all. Okay. Does that answer your question? Okay, excellent. All right. Um, Now I know I don't remember to say every single thing that I want to, so hopefully you guys have questions. Yes, that's correct. And that unfortunately is a big thing that was happening, is that they weren't allowing other religions, other sex to come in. Now, for those of you that also don't know, when I first wrote up Loth, okay, she was supposed to be she was the queen of the Dark Elves, and eventually Gary made her into a god, and she was just supposed to be one of the many. Supposed to be a cult, just supposed to be a cult, not supposed to be all of the stuff. But Salvatore liked her so much that when he wrote his books, she was the main person. Okay, but that's not how it was supposed to be. It's just that he liked Loth so much that he made her his main entity. But she was just supposed to be a cult among the Dark Elves, not all of them. Does that make sense? I understand that some of you only know Dark Elves from Salvatore, and you're probably pulling your hair out right now, and I apologize. But Salvatore did not create Thral. Okay, he was given the assignment to write a book, and then ultimately a series of books, and he was given the project, and he did an awesome job and went really far with it. Okay. Somebody's got a hype mic. Yeah, he did a great job. Okay. I mean, he did a great job. I can't, I cannot fault him for that. But Loth was not supposed. She was a cult. She was not supposed to be the only dark elven deity. Okay, just so you know. It's just that's the one that stuck. All right. Okay. I hope you all have questions because I know that I didn't hit everything. And is any questions? Okay. Let's see here. Malikith Virtanen's Jalil Peachtree. Most excellent. Yes. See, any other dark elf would would eliminate that Lothian for doing that. And that's a Salvatorian thing, When Salvatore ran off with it, he what's the word? He did not keep the Spider Squid Wars. Okay? The Spider Squid Wars is a significant has significant impact on the Dark Elven Empire. If you eliminate that from ever happening, okay? If you eliminate the Spider Squid Wars from ever happening, then it makes it so that Dark Elves have to have a new target. And so what Salvatore did is he made elves the other target. And he also did not eliminate 90% of the Dark Elven race and didn't keep in mind the diminishing death rate of elves in general. So he missed a huge picture that we don't miss because uh, most of you already know what role I played in actually creating the drow in the first place. So I have a different, I have an older, different take on it. All right. So the answer to your question, a Lothian that sacrificed an elf would be held accountable by the by all other dark elves, and they themselves would be put to death for it. That is exactly what would happen. Elves are not allowed to kill other elves unless you do so with the knowledge that you are going to die. And you know what? If that is the case, then it totally makes sense because they would all have hits out on them. Okay? You know, they would all have assassins going right after their tails simply because they killed other elves. And that's exactly what would happen. And maybe you should suggest that to Echo. Yes, I do know that. I am aware of that part. So it should be interesting. Because you know, Echo is my Black Magister. Okay. Any other questions? No problem. Yes, that's correct. All dark elves have dark vision, infrared, and ultravision. That is one of the things that they got that they that is the trade off. That is one of the trade offs they got for their need to kill and hurt and be hurt. Because that's a pretty high price. You know? And he's right, it doesn't. You know, at there are ways around that. Plenty of ways. Okay. Any other questions? So that was a good one. That that works for Infravision. Mm. Any rogue who has worked with a dark elf is going to know. And there you go. have done rogue classes in the past. I have no issues doing another one. Might even do one with for my next row if it's wanted enough. I can't remember what class I left off on. Okay. I'm good with it. So let it be known my next row will be about rogues. And that will help. Okay. If there are no other questions, I will go ahead and close this out. And I hope these notes get passed along to everyone else. I know that Magic Apprentice Aval will be posting this. And so let people know that it is out there. And if more questions come up, then feel free to inquire. I was hoping some paladin types would be here because then they could really try to pick my brain about how the Dark Elven Empire, how Dark Elves could have morals and ethics and codes of honor and still kill people and enjoy it. I was hoping there would be some people that would try to push that button because I would love to talk about that, but there's no paladins here. Okay. So, yes, Scarlet Crusade, good example. I would wipe them out. Actually, ironically, one of my favorite characters is Scarlet Crusade, and she was killed and brought back to life as undead. I have built her statue twice. Yes, Sally Whiteman. I built her statue twice. Or I built two different versions of her. One sitting on my monitor, one's on the other side of my room. Because that's the fate that, if you pull that cord, necromancer gets hold of you, and next thing you know, you are now in the service of that necromancer. That's what happens. Okay. All right, last chance to ask questions. Otherwise, I will see you all sometimes I see you at Valshara's Coyotes Tea, and I pop in here and there whenever I can. If you end up with questions or other people do, direct them to the every member of the conclave can reach me, and I can answer those questions at that time. Okay. Belados for your attendance. Windows for now.